like we lost the township puzzle shop economy was because we played in isolation. I didn't want to tell my homie that yo, I know a cat, yeah, I buy my things from Macro and I have this special card, whatever. Whereas if I were to buy with 6 other stores, we'd get a better discount, easy to win over the consumer or the community, and.
From Kona Juda and Debia, Imun Msindis Wesi, Umvelisen Melis Wesizwe, formerly known as Wazi Madonsel, bringing you a show about creative entrepreneurs live from the landmark that not only birth SA street culture but also formalize the street hustle.
Kona Juta and Debia special edition, swank edition, staff edition. What they know about this? I got the main man Mahoota, Lindelani. How you doing, my brother?
I'm not very.
You know I had to wear swank for this episode just to show we really in it like that.
Yo, accordingly, yeah.
Accordingly.
Yeah, it makes sense. Finally, Kona Juda and Debia, a bit of,
Man, I think it's crazy. We established the podcast on the rooftop, and then Mash was telling me about like, yo, this swank. And Fred had always mentioned swank, even when I was a beautiful boy. It's like, yo, swank is the one.
Yeah.
And then finally, I think we connect. Even after I've left, we finally connect and we talk. And I start understanding the brand and everything. Because at that stage in my fashion journey, I was a Yeezy and Carhartt brewer. Had the Levi's here and there, but that's all I was wearing. You couldn't tell me anything. And then I started understanding the brand.
Yeah.
I started understanding the quality control, I understand the distribution, I understand the design language, the consistency even from a font level. Because I think a lot of young creatives, we want to have every font on our designs. We always like, yo, dog, this what? Nike's doing that curve one, now we're doing the curve one. This brand is doing the Kanye West, No More Parties in LA, Life of Pablo one. We're doing that one and we're all doing that one. But I think the first question to dive in this conversation, what does it take to run a streetwear brand?
Yeah. Shout out for bringing us out, man. Firstly, but yeah, to answer your question, I think the thing that it takes to run like a streetwear brand, I'm just like looking from streetwear like on a global scale, man. Just being fortunate also to like see other parts of the world is firstly in South Africa. I think it's just trying to, obviously, making the product, meetings, demand, etc. But I think starting a streetwear brand here is firstly having I don't know, man. I think maybe for me, and this is like a personal thing, I think we just have to have, what's the word? The word is like running away, but you just have to have the ikrach lakon. I don't know if that's...
the stamina.
Yeah, ikrach lakon, and like a lot of those things you notice, it's like a very slow burner, like also looking at it from the South African context compared to like how it is in the world, In the world, it's easy to mobilize, it's easy to... There's better infrastructure, there's a better understanding of a lot of things that can support like a streetwear brand being successful. Compared to here, running a brand here, it's like the smallest things you don't think about that much. It's like, okay, cool, if my consumer is a 17-year-old, because I always try to think about it from like a user journey type of thing, If it's a 17-year-old, and that 17-year-old tells their parent that, yo, I don't want you to buy me clothes anymore. I want to buy my own clothes. It's like, how do you then go about kind of like getting some sort of thumbs up from the person who's actually going to be purchasing the goods at that point? So from the 17-year-old, they'll be getting the money from the parent, or the parent will probably be giving them the money direct to go out and buy, So the smallest things, like for me, I know the black, which is the majority, the black consumer, I know stands to be what we are trying to like gun for in the South African context, where if let's say there's 2,000 kids, 17-year-olds in South Africa, we are specifically trying to like hit or target, how or what's the best way to kind of like clinch them, you know, and what would be more functional for them, what would make sense for them to use on a daily basis, you know, like for example, like we dropped like these backpacks, which was trying to like respond to the very same question as to your backpack, if it's like streetwear, they can wear the backpack to school, right? Whereas because school there's uniform, so they have like liberty or leeway to wear like backpacks. You can make socks, which they can like hide under their trousers or whatever, but sometimes it becomes a bit, you know. But if it plays within the colorways of like the school uniform, that's another way. But that in itself, you know that even with the parents giving the homie the money, the question that the parent asks is that, yo, where are you buying this thing from? Are you buying it from a store? Are you buying it from one of your homies who hustles from a backpack? Are you whatever? Or are you buying it from the mall? You know, so those are some of the questions also. Or is there like a shop or boutique where it can be bought? Can it be bought online? Are they like a trusted source? etc, etc. You know, so all those things, like from how do you run like a successful brand to win over a 17-year-old, a 17-year-old's heart, is like some of the things I tend to try to also continuously question. You know. And then in itself, I think that the biggest answer is then you try to create systems around access, availability, distribution, what's the other one? And also trying to understand where that consumer is at that particular point in time, you know? That point literally is just highlighting the idea that if the kid literally would have that backpack as their wallpaper, they're always talking about it, thinking about it, reposting images of, I don't know, an influencer they like, wearing the thing or whatever. How do we then make it like a thing of, okay, cool, let's try to get this thing through to them, even if, let's say, the backpack is like, I don't know, 1.5 or whatever, right? Which are things such as like things we run and we started called like warehouse sales, where we try to create a moment where the consumer, which might be having like a tough time at that point in time, to get the thing for like 1.5 whatever, to be able to lock it in, or to buy it from our distributors and partners, etc, etc, yeah.
Do you think sale culture also depreciates the brand's value? Because for me, I started noticing that I'd look at something nice at Zara and be like, this one's gonna drop soon.
Yeah.
And like now I'm just waiting for the sales. I'm no longer participating within the space in real time.
I mean, I think it depends on the context and the scale. Sale culture, also depending on how it is positioned, can actually create a moment or can actually like create the vibe of, I'll wait for it to go on sale, you know? I think the advantage of being small and streetwear, because streetwear, the idea is like everything is just like one drop. When it's finished, it's done, right? So that's one thing. So the possibility of it going to sale also, it's very like, you know? But also if it does go to sale, for us, we see the opportunity of actually bringing community together and to engage with them beyond just, we've moved all these units, let's clap hands and out, you know? So I think the most important thing at that point in time is that the thing has to be very like it has to surprise the community. It has to be like, you know, it doesn't have to be like, okay, I see Zulu time. Sale, near ones are August, we on, you know. So I think, and depending on scale, bro, you know, like sometimes these things where, let's say, you can hold old classics or whatever, old silhouettes that you still have for like 3-4 years, and then drop it as like, you know, like an anniversary celebration, as you know.
Speaking of anniversaries,
Yeah.
this year you celebrated 11 years of Swank.
Yeah.
How did you start Swank? Because there's a thing you always say, a t-shirt is a t-shirt is a t-shirt.
Yeah.
How does a kid at home right now, a kid in Val, a kid in PE, a kid in Kukulet, who's seeing all these big brands, who's seeing Swank, who's seeing Galaxy Boy, how would you say they could start their own brand?
I mean,
From their lunch money budget, because that's how you started.
yeah, I think that's a really dope question, and I always advise for people to start from a very young age, because, or like from like your high school years, you know, because I started then, but I think the opportunity there is that you're going at this thing. You're not looking at like money, you know. You're not looking at do we reach a certain target? Do we make certain sell-throughs, etc. You know, you're literally looking at it from like we love this thing and we want to participate. You know, and from that point onwards, I think because also it's quite different, because the generation, I think streetwear every 5 years kind of like has like a pivot or turning point where like it has like a different meaning for a different bunch or crowd or whatever. So what I would have suggested, or what I've learned right now, and I wish I would have implemented when I started, is probably maybe something that wouldn't apply for a kid who's like, I don't know, doing matric or first year, second year, third year, varsity or whatever, you know. However, I think kids know what other kids like, you know. They know, they have an idea of, oh, actually, you know what, things like, and like it's just like preference, you know, like from the person themselves. I think it's like, yo, I like accessories, you know. And if you know that you like accessories, you like jewelry, you like headwear, whatever, I think that's the best place to start, because number one, you're coming at it from a place where you have a good understanding and you have a nice taste, or you understand like what it is, right? And then from then onwards, it's easy for you to sell to your fellow peers or friend groups or community if you've managed to build one. And it's easier to start with. For me, is like I always like advise also to start like with accessories, because accessories, they come at they're like a dope way to run through products without having the stress of, oh, there's a shitload of like smalls and mediums left. We sold a lot of larges, XLs, double XLs.
So we focus on the cap, the keychains.
You understand? So those things, the important things about those, that it's something that you and your homies in school or whatever can use and wear every day, right? The keychain, which is something you guys can accessorize your backpacks with, or your side bag with, or your blazer, you know, like the pins, those small things, you know. I think if you can manage to look at that, it's easy for you to then, and it allows you to build a design language, where you go into apparel, cut and sew, dealing with CMTs, all of that. You kind of like have an understanding of what you want to like translate in the product, but you've won over a crowd using the most simplest of things. And like, I'm sure you've seen it like multiple times, even in the country, you know. We've seen Thesis Lifestyle, popularly known, I'm sure this was like 15 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, with their bucket hats, for example, right? And I remember school kids in school wearing those bucket hats. It wasn't like it was a no-brainer, because the one side could be black, and you're wearing like a black hat with black uniform, and then after school, cats are just like flipping it with like a floral pattern situation, you know? So for me, I think that's like the best way for like a young cat to look at it. And I know there's like pressures from like the Supreme drop, or what you see from...
I want to drop the crazy cut. I want that crazy design with the
you
crazy
understand?
zips.
Yeah, you see from Kith or whatever, right? And it's like, there is no problem. You can do samples or whatever if you have the ability or the capacity at the time. But for me, if you're able to sell the idea within, let's say, Izaza, or like a keychain, like a wallet holder, all the simplest things, like accessories that are not very like size or like size variant dependent, it's easy for you to sell the thing through, and also it comes at like a lower price point compared to like a nice big jacket or whatever. So it's easy to sell those through, right? And it's easy for you to use them, like, let's say 4 to 5 times a week in the consumer's daily usage requirements. Yeah.
You spoke about the thesis bucket hat being the hero product, right? For me, another hero product that I noticed was the Laduma socks, the Mahoota socks.
Yeah.
What would you say is the hero product for Swank?
For me, I wouldn't necessarily say and I don't know, I might, maybe I'm too within the thing, but I don't necessarily think we have like a specific hero product, but we know what makes a killing from, what do you call it, like from a style point of view, right? So a lot of the styles, we know that, okay, cool, these styles are probably going to be things that run on faster, etc. are also like accessories, compared to
Two-piece camouflage.
yeah, and also those things, like, right, they might be super hot, like, right, whatever, right? The thing is that it takes a lot of time also. It's like a lot of like drilling, It's a lot of we saw it on who and who. It was styled nicely by who and who on a music video
Shout out
or
Cat.
whatever. So it's like that. It's like a slow burner. Whereas if it's like tote bag, it's easy for us to like just relay a tote bag and like or caps or whatever. I think for us, like our hero product, as much as we've tried a lot of products as we've went, it's like the accessories, they are like super, the accessories and the super like functional things that people can easily get, I would say, for us would be the hero product. And we're still actively trying to figure it out also, I wouldn't say like we have a hero product like a box logo or whatever, But what I would say though is that we are always attempting to find better ways to simplify and make most of what we deliver as products that people see, like, I can't not have this type, yeah.
You build I can't not have this. You've built the brand, you've built the community.
Yeah.
How's it been doing collabs? Because a lot of people, when they start their brands, they're like, I just want to collab with Nike.
Yeah.
But you've built within your community, from within, from things that you've admired and things that you respect.
Yeah.
You've gone all the way from Chow Mein, a graffiti artist. You've done Taps. You've done Sister Nzwembu. You've done countless collabs.
Yeah.
What do collabs actually mean for the brand?
I mean,
The pros and cons, if possible.
collab culture has been proven also from like a commercial level that it's a great way for marketing. That's why even like big brands like see the need to invest in them. For us, I think the other important thing is that when you are like at a smaller scale, it's easier to, like even with the people we work with directly, it's like it's easy to kind of like look at it from okay, cool, this is like a marketing thing or whatever, right? But beyond that, for me, I see an opportunity of actually creating within a community which we probably share with whoever partner or whoever we're working with, and also strengthening bonds with whoever who's complementary right outside of the community, right? So, for example, if like the example like chow mein, right? It's like I probably know a lot of cats who, a lot of like kids from where I'm from or whatever, who are like, yo, bro, like what's the thing with like graffiti culture or whatever, right? And it's easy for me to be like, no, this thing is actually not that deep, right? And that not that deep actually is us working with the homie who actually does graffiti or does tags or whatever. And it's easy for us when we do a drop or whatever, or when the homies see the homie or whoever we've partnered with, to be easy to engage with him, to be like, yo, actually no, we homie makes graffiti, but it also translates that in toys, for example.
Sure.
Right? So that also builds another opportunity of actually creating somewhat of like a complementary product offering, which we wouldn't have thought of if we were just making like a regular capsule, whatever, you know? So there's a lot of things that we've always wanted to attempt also. It's just that some things make it and some things don't. But it kind of like opens up the conversation of like, oh, actually the first collab we did t-shirts. The second one we can do like these crazy varsity jackets,
Yeah.
right? The third one, yo, we can actually, I don't know, can we
Make
talk
toys.
about make toys and you know? So also with us, we're actually opening up to doing more things that are complementary to what the homie, or whoever the partner is, what they like, and what we might be also interested in, and be like, yo, this actually sounds like a pretty cool idea, you know? And that's just been like our reasoning also of like, because we're definitely talking to the same person, and that same person is not linear, you know? They probably like music, but they probably like a hybrid when it comes to music. They like, on Sundays, they probably like R&B,
Sure.
but on Thursdays, they want to listen to Chrome, or, you know, on Wednesdays, they want to listen to jazz or whatever, you know? So all those things, like, that's the same consumer we are all talking to, type of, or like the same community, I would put it, you know?
Yeah.
And so for me, I see a huge opportunity also with like cross collaboration, because also I think there's a missed opportunity where a lot of people don't see that as valuable, you know?
I think for me, your most interesting collab, personally, is the Spova Gang collab, right?
Yeah.
One, because we all offsprings of the lingo, the culture
Yeah.
that everything Spova Gang did and
Yeah.
introduced within youth culture, especially in a fashion sense.
Yeah.
What's it like for you when you work with people you once looked at and like, damn, that's the dude? Because a lot of us, we seeing it from the outside that, oh, nice, the second drop, but we don't know what the experience is like for the creator.
It's crazy. Nah, for me, it's always been like a thing where we've always worked with the guys also, like even from like, even before we even started collabs, because for us, it's like we also do, you know, like when artists or whatever, you know, want to do merch for this and that, blah, 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 we can help wherever, or like within whatever capacity they want us to help with. If they want us to produce a capsule for them, here you go, blah, 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 you know? So we've always had like that relationship with the guys, and it's like, for me, it's always like a dope opportunity to work also from a perspective where like you're looking at it from a kid, where you were like inspired, and now you guys are like bouncing off ideas to actually like manifest like a physical product coming into real life, you know? I think that's like the magic of it. And also it's like, I think more than anything, it's like a testament to show that what we are doing actually like holds weight from our, like a partner's perspective, or from like community perspective, and you know. So for me, I think that's like the most important thing that actually shows that we actually need more of cross-pollination, you know, older cats or OGs working with the younger cats. You know, like it shouldn't be like, you know, I don't think it should just be like top down, where it's like big brand, big corporation, emerging brand. You know, it can also be like because the energy also when it comes to those jobs. Every time you do those jobs, there's always a line outside the store. There's always kids. Like the first job was crazy. We had like a kid who was like 13 years old, bro. I think with his homie or something. They were standing in the line. They got to the store at like 6 a.m.
That's crazy to me because
And
when I think
yeah,
when I'm introduced to SME, it's like what, over 8 years ago. So the cat probably like literally grew up on it from like 5 years old. It's like
exactly.
he's been understanding and growing with this thing. He's almost as old as Swank.
100%. You know, it's almost as old as we are, and it's like it's a really dope thing to see how like different disciplines, man, and within the arts when they come together. For me, I think that's the other important thing. Is like when different disciplines within the arts come together to create something that's like they would have manifested, or because a lot of the times also, like, when you're out or whatever, you see homies, people have a lot of ideas. Yeah, let's do this, let's do that. Maybe guys are drunk or whatever, and they're throwing like this,
You just brought a question to my head.
Yeah.
For the past 2 years, it's been, we should do this. How's it been when you have reps from certain brands, reps from certain, let me call what, circles? Say, we should do this. No, bro, we're gonna do this. How's that strain? Because a lot of cats don't know that the minute you get into the creative industry, all of a sudden everyone wants to partner, but when it's time to be actionable, it's barely a handful of people who pull up to the party.
Yeah, I mean, there's other people, like, sometimes, it's like, yeah, people are in the moment, they're excited, whatever, But a lot of the other times, I think you can just gauge from the conversation if people really want to work, or if people just want to, I don't know, man. If it's just one of those, we have them close by, so that when it's time, like, it makes sense for us to, so that it's not even like a far thing, or the relationship, we don't have to start it from I don't know if I'm making sense.
So you think they're laying ground to what could potentially be something? Sometimes.
And also sometimes, don't forget, it's like the community, the community decides. That's how I look at a lot of things. That's why also, a lot of the times, like, things that are very front-facing or whatever, to me are not like a big thing. I get like the value it brings, and it is some sort of currency, But a lot of the time, community decides, right? I don't decide if I have the hottest cap in the country right now. It's my community that decides.
Yeah.
Or the community that would say loves streetwear, emerging streetwear in South Africa, and are about it. They're the ones who decide. So a lot of the cats, from what I've seen, or my observation, is that around the thing is that they tend to, if the community is actually going super crazy about homie, it makes sense for us to come close to homie. I don't know but just to be like, we are on the foundation.
Present here. Yeah, we are touching it, as Mateke would say. We are peeping it.
Peep. So that's the thing, So, and for me, and the relationships also within the thing, like the creative space, the fraternity, and right, it is important. But for me, I look at joining forces with people from how do we build what do you call it, strength within the fraternity of what we are doing as creators, right? Because I think a lot of the times people have seen the commercial success of whatever the arts or the creative space could bring. They don't see the opportunity of actually owning that thing as the base of creators. Because if you own that thing as the base of creators, with that immediate community of people who decides which cap is the hottest, I think you then, like, I was looking at one of your podcasts with Fresh, where that's where the sustainability tends to be, you know, because the one of playing the commercial one sometimes is like a bit tricky, because you are given the pedestal and then like it's removed, you know, so it's like
onto the next one quick.
onto the next, and like it's like it looks like creatives can be easily like replaceable, and they can whatever, right? But if like it's not like you're not shaken, you know, like oh.
With or without you.
No, like, you know, you can't burn the joints, but we're out there, you know. But it's like, I think that's the way the opportunity is. For me, when I'm having the conversation with our homies, we're like, yo, we want to do like a collaborative t-shirt, whatever. I look at it from if this thing becomes a success, it opens up a conversation for cats in 2 years or 3 years or whatever, ne? To be like, why don't streetwear cats in South Africa all have like stores? Let's say, for example, right? How many provinces is streetwear like prevalent in? Let's say three or four.
Yeah. Now let's say 3.
But
Durban, Cape Town, Jozi.
Copy, right? But
Or
let's
unless
say-
we're doing cities. If we're
okay,
doing
cool.
cities,
Let's
we
do
count
like
PTA
a
too.
Val, or you know,
Sure.
Joburg, Cape Town, Durban,
PTA.
Bloem, PTA, whatever, right? If all these cats like worked together, like from you know, or like there was that energy of like, yo, we're not playing in isolation that much. For me, I see the opportunity where there's 6 stores in those places, and automatically all the brands, all the people who are fucking with each other, by default have 6 touch points of distribution. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Damn. So if I have a store in Val, you have a store in PTA, he has a store in Bram, someone else has a store in Soweto, we could all stock each other. So we all have the same distribution and we all always front facing.
And we do collabs with each other, whatever. Because your community of 100 people, my community of 20, the other community of whatever, you know? And, you know, this is like a...
And we cut costs because we all making
And now,
an income
like,
at all
you know,
times.
and like, dog, if you know, that me, I know, like, this hot piano bro who's doing too much wherever in the world, I can get him to do the official party of the official opening of the whole drop. You can get all the communities together, whatever. You understand that's the power I see within the collaboration. I don't think, like, corporations can do that, like, from like an organic... They can pay the cash or whatever, you know, they can spend the buck to make it happen. But I think, for me, I don't lose any, I don't even want coin from that thing.
Yeah.
Because it's so magical. Because number one, I know what, if I'm gonna make a collection of t-shirts, I'm not making 20 t-shirts, I'm making 100. Because I know it's gonna be available in all these 6 touch points.
Yeah.
And we have so many people, we are actively or proactively vouching for, you know. That's why also I get asked a lot of the times, what do you think about this brand? What do you think about that brand? Like, for me, I want the brands to do it at the highest level, whether they do it like on their own, or they got like a cosign, or they got a big check, so that they get to a point where they'll actually see that, no, man, there's a lot of isolation that exists within the fraternity of the thing. A lot of guys are doing dope, but we are just doing dope in our own islands.
Sure.
You know?
Let's make a country.
But we are all talking to the same person. That's my thing. We are all talking to the same person.
But
And
we are coming through the corners.
But we are all being like, dog, me, my advert was the best compared to the advert. I don't. That
We could
thing
cut
is
the
a very,
product. So your goal for streetwear, well, your ideal world in streetwear is all brands distribute each other within the stores. All brands now, let's say we are now quality control, even the quality of the product.
Yeah.
Holistically, because if now you printing your summer collection, I'm printing my summer collection.
Yeah.
If we're going to the printers, we're printing like 1,000.
Yeah.
As opposed to the price we're getting if we're printing 100 each over all these provinces.
I think I've had this conversation with you off air once about how, like, dog, I don't know, I take a lot of inspiration from like the Pakistani touch-up rules, because for me, think about how they operate, but apply that in streetwear. Imagine how that would be, because you know how these guys, they buy in bulk, they distribute in this. dog, this because they know their customer. Everyone drinks milk, everyone eats bread, everyone eats eggs, whatever. So, let's not, and when I'm looking at like also how, like when you look at the township, for example, not to be super like political and try to
Regional.
think about things, but how like we lost the township puzzle shop economy was because we played in isolation. I didn't want to tell my homie that I know a cat, I buy my things from Macro and I have this special card, whatever. Whereas if I were to buy with 6 other stores, we'd get a better discount, easy to win over the consumer or the community, and.
Do you think that's a streetwear problem or it's a holistic South African mindset
I
problem?
think it's a South African thing because also in other parts of the. So when I was in Indonesia, crazy enough, the cats, because like a couple of islands, right? So all these cats, what they do is that.
Literal islands.
Yeah. Like,
Just to bring back context.
yeah. But I was in the capital city in Jakarta, right? Where you saw how the brands, like dog, it's so like Southeast Asia cats, like if you're like a streetwear cat, look into Southeast Asia. That's like a gem I'd give. I'd take and give it to you. Think about it, don't say I didn't, But what those cats do is that one homie, right? Because also they have a history of like strong, they have strong in production, bro. You find one homie, let's say the family, maybe they used to produce for Supega
Sure.
or whatever. And now he has his own footwear brand and it's his own store. So what he does in the store is that they usually have 2 sections of the store. One section is the in-house brand with all your products. And the other side of the thing is all the other brands, right? Complementary brand. Or
So
what
is
that
it
does
complementary in a sense of Pata carries every other shoes, but they don't carry every other clothing brand? Or is it complementary holistically?
So it's because the cats, for me, there's nothing that's it's a very it's very flexible, It's
Sure.
not, because a lot of the guys have access to producing footwear in Indonesia. Number
Yeah.
one. So you find maybe one cat who's fly with creating sandal, those Sikoki lookalike sandals,
Sure.
or the other guys are dope with boat shoes and. And then the other brands that do t-shirts, that do denim, that do whatever. But literally, if there's 8 stores across all the islands, each store has a touch point. And also it makes sense because the islands are divided because of the territory is physically
Yeah.
separated. You peep. And when I looked at it, I was like, oh, crazy. That's and not to try force a marriage that doesn't make sense within streetwear or people or whatever, But for me, that's something which I was like, oh shit. And those cats, mind you, right? They have a really strong access to production. They have
Distribution channels.
it's crazy, bro. Because and the population there, there's so many. I think, it's one of the countries that has a shitload of people as well. But the way they look at it, it's no, man. You know what? Actually, and the collaboration within the brand themselves, a brand probably has 3 or 4 collaborations with other brands or whatever within the thing there.
Speaking of collaboration, right?
Yeah.
You have this pivotal moment that happens within your career, right? It's this moment where TFG calls, says, yo, we're trying to do distribution, right? Now you distributed it at X amount of stores. It's no longer banking on your online distribution only, or the shop, or the other shop when you had the pop-up. What's that thing that says to you, no, man, everyone can cop this thing at Sports Scene. They already copped the product. Everyone can access this thing on their online website. What's that thing to you that says, even in this moment, we are making our shop bigger? Because it's you're doing, the one thing that most local brands are struggling with is the distribution touch point. You now get the biggest distribution touch point, but you still say you're doubling down on the size of your own store. Why?
I mean, like also when you go, like I think it goes back to, the first point, like when we spoke about how do you make it as a studio brand. I think one of the answers is like, oh, the guy, the bag you want,
Sure.
or it's sold at the mall. Oh, and then my already sees it there. It's like, it's an easily thumbs up, and it's another easy, because my already probably has an account
At TFG,
with
yeah.
the thing, right? So it's like an easy. So in real time, even if there's a big campaign we make about Tiger Camel or whatever, né, and we make it the hardest thing in the thing, right? We actually have through partnering with like stockists and distributors, it gives us the ability of being able to get it to the consumer in real time of real time of the campaign or of the hype or whatever, right? I think that's like one of the other important things because and also like we're learning a lot as we and also like it's not there most, it's like we're trying to like join forces with other guys in the country, in the continent.
Yeah, so you would sneak a district as well, you would WAF in Nigeria.
Yeah, like a couple of those, and also trying to see like what's the opportunity also like in Europe,
Here's my question though.
Yeah.
Why do you make the store bigger when you already have all these distribution channels? Because my old lady can go see it physically at the closest mall.
Yeah.
Why are you doubling down on your own personal store?
My thing is like for us also, it's like there's the mall has its own culture and it has its own its own like formula and how it works, right? But also for us, I think it was like an opportunity to be more intentional about our core values and belief of actually using the space as a base which allows more community in and which fosters a bigger idea of like collaboration, right? So the whole idea also is like for us making the store bigger is like, okay, cool. What if we have a homie who's like a film maker or whatever? They'll be able to use our space to screen the film, When I was in Hong Kong, one thing I spotted there is that the cats usually like in like boutique style, they usually like use their spaces as like a multi-purpose space which enables people to engage with like whatever they need beyond just like buying the thing and leaving, So you'll find a candle store which I don't know, man, which refills candles and doesn't just sell them, and which probably has like a coffee section.
Yeah.
Or like a vinyl store, which
so it becomes
like
experiential.
It becomes like super experiential, 100%. So for us, that was the idea of making the space like, I think you just summarized it proper, with the word experiential, and also create something that stands out of just being okay, cool. You can find these guys Mumulo, or you can find them go Melrose or go Kai or online or
Yeah.
So for us it's like that, and also we are very intentional about all the collaborations living where at the
store,
at the base, at the store, and the whole idea of like the swank workshop, which we just like recently like came up with, is like how do we then create like a very proactive way of actually enabling people to, and we're still trying to find ways to launch it and do it proper. But the whole idea is to try to find a way as to how do we get that 17-year-old kid to actually come into a place which is like super experiential and be like, yo, buy a coffee, sit in store, work, and be like, yo, what do you guys use to make mock-ups for like
the t-shirt,
for the designs or whatever, and then we can easily be like, oh, here's the resource, or or just like go on to, that free game by Virgil. This is the website we actually got. Because a lot of the things like are literally like, on the internet or whatever. It's just free game, And that's the whole idea, even with the collaborations where people can be like, oh, are those the sticker patches or the whatever, the badge he press on joints or whatever, where it's like if someone gets like a t-shirt installed, they can actually like customize their own thing and which brings that idea of the idea of actually fostering the collaboration also just beyond the person buying into the Swank X whomever, for them to actually like create their own interpretation of that, so like that was like what was like leading us to make it bigger, adding some of like the other elements into the space, etc. So
quick one.
yeah.
So if you made it this far, I need you to comment. We need a part 2, but most importantly, we need it live. Just say live. Hashtag live, 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 live. Because there's a bigger story being told. But most importantly, what's your word to the youth?
Yeah, man. I don't know if now it's a wrap, but I think the youth should just just do their thing, man. It's a very tough one. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe we speak with so much ease, They should like do their thing from and not just like do your thing as in like, yo, I'm just giving you like vague daps or whatever, Like do your thing as in like they might take charge and take courage within their ideas, right? Because I don't think it gets easier also when you grow up. I think, like when I look at the spirit I had when starting Swank, like that spirit is like like I understand why like also at home they're like, this cat is crazy. Like,
Yeah.
because like that's the spirit you have also when you're young. Like when you're young, the more you grow, it's like the more technical you become, the more like, and it's like more things happen. It's like life happens and whatever, So you might not get that opportunity also of just being like, I wouldn't say carefree, but just having that like pure energy of like just wanting to do things and not seeing anything standing in your way to execute your ideas. I don't know if I'm making sense, So that's why for me, I think that's like another important one for young cats to, if they, and they mustn't look at it from like a results point of view. They must look at it from yo, I did it, and I did it at the best of my capacity. I reached out, I knocked on doors, I managed to do this with this guy and that, and like the failure happens, like I think like failure is just like, even with the bigger guys, like we failed 10 times before we get that one win, and that's so crazy because we never dwell on the failure. It's like when when you're playing tennis, that point is left. Focus on the next. You understand? So I think that's what holds the young cats or the young energy captive, is that look executed on the ideas, right? I think one of it, the biggest one, becomes like the idea of failure or looking down or whatever, right? But I think also that's an opportunity because as a young cat, there's an expectation for you to know much, number one. But there's high admiration of you trying, right? And there is a big opportunity because at that point in time, you don't have so much responsibilities. You can still be at home, you can still, you understand? You still like do all these things. And by the time, if if luck connects, if everything, like, if you run through all those 10 fails as fast as possible and you hit that one win, like it gets you in a point where, oh shit, I was supposed to be looking for an apartment at this point in time. Thank God I got that one luck. You understand? Whereas you are chilling on the idea when you're young, dog. You're just like thinking about it. You understand? So for me, that's what I think. Like that's what I'm saying. Like cats should like just go at it. Don't look at the failure. They must do it though, whether it works, it doesn't, you know. That's like literally frees you, you know. The rest is just, you know, just pray about the thing. Luck will always intercept you, in the path, you know. The luck doesn't intercept you when you're just, you know, on the grandstand there.
What's keeping you going? It's 11 years. You're the young kid. It's hard, but you figure it out, right?
Yeah.
You talk about that stage in your career where it's like, it's hard, but I'm figuring it out.
Yeah.
You move from that point, you get to the point where it's like, I somewhat know this thing right now, right? And when you start knowing it, you're leaving the cuts and sews, that's when you travel abroad, you unlock your mind, and you're like, yo, right now, at this stage of the game, we're gonna focus on the quality control. You're doing the jacket, as you'd like to say. You're figuring out the quality control. You get the distribution, you get the store, you get 10 years of swank, you get the adverts with the legends, you get everything that's come thus far for you. What's keeping you going? Because for a lot of us, that check reflecting, we don't want to work after it reflects.
Yeah. For me, I think the thing that's keeping me going is like, I just feel like I just started. I don't know if
11 years in, you just started.
Yeah, I just feel like, because at the point, because also the backstory of like Swank is that I knew about, let's say, the other streetwear brands and whatever, right? And I'd see what they were doing, and I was like, yo. So I was looking at it from like, that's what I was saying to the cats, the advice to the youth or kids or whatever. Like, start with your idea at that point in time, right? It's because for me, when I was looking at those cats, I was like, yo, I want to be there. Like, how these cats like...
Also, can I preface this to say this nigga's 27, by the way. 11 years of swank is 27.
You
I think that's crazy, man. That's an accolade.
Shout out, yeah. But for me, it's like, when I was looking at it, I was like, yo, dog, I want to be... You know those ones where you've seen cats with like...
I want to touch it.
Shops.
Yeah.
With lines and stores and right? But that's actually, and it's like a very slow burner, and there are points in like the how where things could have been taken much more faster. There could have been like more urgency and you know. But the one thing I've learned is that's why I feel like I'm starting right now, is because when I was looking at it from a kid, like looking at whatever I was seeing or the inspiration or whatever, right? That's literally, I feel like I'm in my first season. I'm like a toddler or like, an infant, right? Within that space. I feel like I'm an infant within, now we're doing current so. I feel like I'm an infant, you know? I feel like I'm an infant where, the product is now live, online. Be packing all the online orders or whatever, like all the madness. Oh, there's a sale or there's an event or we need to be in this city and that city on the same day or there's a deadline, there's a store launch or film
delegation now.
And it's like, I feel like what I was seeing then is starting for me now. That's how it feels like I just started.
Let's hold it there.
I'd say
Don't forget in the comments, you want to see it live. We have something coming, for real. Big swank. Swank is huge. Lindelani the greatest. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this was crazy. If you didn't make it this far, I'm so sad for you. You need to stop.